Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at another very likely, though not guaranteed, Tag Team GX that we're going to be getting very soon. A lovely chap over on Twitter today sent me a message and said, "Hey Ross, I've got it on fairly good authority, I've got a good source, that we're going to be getting a Venusaur and Celebi Tag Team GX. And I thought, well, that sounds like kind of fun. It was the lovely @2004KK over on Twitter. And the reason is we have a staff lanyard going around at the Latin American International Championships, which has Celebi and Venusaur as a pair. Why is that relevant? Well, the reason it's relevant is very simple. If we look at the promo image we previously looked at for the Latin American International Championship, we see 3 pairs of Pokemon. We see Pikachu and Zekrom, which has already been confirmed as a Tag Team GX. There's an artwork on the screen. You can see it right there. There is a Mimikyu and Gengar. Now, this hasn't been confirmed as a Tag Team GX, but there are product listings for deck boxes, etc. in Japan, which, although not 100% confirming, pretty much confirm. Artwork on the screen, of course, is custom artwork done by the lovely Hitmonlee, not official artwork. It is a slightly different style, so it's fairly easy to tell apart. And then, of course, we went, well, there's definitely going to be a Magikarp and Wailord Tag Team GX. Look at that. It's the only pair there that doesn't have a Tag Team GX essentially announced. And since then, we have had information about a product coming, which basically confirms that we were in fact correct about Magikarp and Wailord. Now, to be fair, it doesn't actually confirm it, but it's called the Towering Splash GX box, and it's giving us a new Tag Team GX. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen, it's clearly going to be Wailord and Magikarp. So, given all of that, and given that they clearly seem to be showing us these Tag Team GXs on the Latin American artwork, a staff badge with Celebi and Venusaur doesn't confirm, but it seems to hint incredibly strongly. I mean, look at Pikachu and Zekrom. We have a big and a little Pokemon. We have a legendary Pokemon, and we have a regular Pokemon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that seems pretty good to me. Now, I will say that Celebi is a mythical Pokemon and Zekrom is a legendary, but come on, that's a small distinction. It certainly seems about right. I have one other piece of information that hints incredibly strongly to this being true. And that is that I recently showed you images of Charizard and Blastoise, which are going to be coming out in the team-up set. I showed you them the other day. I'll pop links in the description. Bearing that in mind, why did we not see Venusaur? Now, for a little bit of extra context, we did actually see that these cards were shown on the official Japanese website, and they were side by side, but there was no Venusaur. Well, it would make sense then that we would be getting Venusaur as a Tag Team GX, while we also got Charizard and Blastoise as just regular cards in the set. So I cannot tell you 100% we're definitely getting Celebi and Venusaur Tag Team GX, but the fact that they're featured on the lanyard, combined with the fact that Venusaur was mysteriously missing from the Japanese website, which is cards that are going to be coming in Team Up, I think it's fairly likely that this is going to be happening. Now, as a side note here, if we do get a Celebi and Venusaur Tag Team GX, it's got to be a grass type. Now, the reason is very simple. Venusaur is a grass and a poison type, and Celebi is a grass and a psychic type, which means the only shared typing is grass, which means that it's going to be a grass Tag Team GX. So that means that the previously not actually confirmed, but let's face it, confirmed Pheromosa and Buzzwole Tag Team GX would have to be a fighting type. Now, when I say have to be a fighting type, obviously it doesn't have to be a fighting type, but it really does seem like they're going for one Tag Team GX of every type, and that would absolutely make sense here. In that context, Venusaur and Celebi have to be grass. Buzzwole and Pheromosa could either be grass or fighting, but I refuse to believe that we'd end up with 2 grass Tag Team GXs while we have no fighting. So this all gives us lots of information. Is this confirmed? No, I think I've been pretty clear about that. But is it incredibly likely that this turns out to be true? Oh my goodness, yes. I am very careful about rumours and speculation. I don't bring you rumours unless I am 90% sure that they're true. I'm not always right, but I'm right more often than not, and I feel good about this. So the question becomes, what do we know, or what can we presume about Venusaur and Celebi Tag Team GX? Well, we can presume that it's going to be a grass type, as previously mentioned, and grass is not too bad at the moment. Now, we're going to have Life Forest Prism Star. We've already got Life Forest Prism Star as it happens, which means that you get to heal 60 damage and 1 special condition during your turn from a grass Pokemon. That's quite nice. And it means you're going to be hitting weakness on stuff like Lycanroc, which is very relevant at the moment. That's one of the best Pokemon we've got, which is quite nice. And it means that you're going to be able to use stuff like Lurantis to do extra damage if you so wish. But it also means it's going to be weak to fire. And firstly, Blacephalon with Naganadel is basically the best deck we have at the moment. And that's going to run through. Now, we don't know how much HP it's going to have. I'm guessing 260. Pikachu and Zekrom had 240. Eevee and Snorlax has 270. So I think this is probably going to be between the two. So I'm guessing 260 here. I could be wrong. But either way, if Blacephalon comes along and Lost Zone's free energy, then it will be doing 300 damage. So it doesn't matter whether you've got 250 or 300, you're going down. So even if it's a really good card, and both the Tag Team GXs we've seen so far with translations, that being Pikachu and Zekrom and Eevee and Snorlax, have been very good cards, we've got a built-in check here, because I don't think Blacephalon Naganadel's going anywhere. And don't forget that these Tag Team GXs give up free prizes when they're KO'd. So even if they are phenomenally good, there's still a huge risk involved in playing them. And it's probably going to have a retreat cost of 4 because Venusaur tends to be a big boy who has a high retreat cost. And you might be thinking, well, hang on a second, Wassy. Celebi doesn't. That's true, I'll give you that. But then again, Eevee and Snorlax has a huge retreat cost. Snorlax generally big retreat cost, Eevee generally small. They've gone with the big. So I think it's fair to assume we're going to have a high retreat cost of about 4 here. In terms of the attacks and abilities, we don't know, but we can look at the kind of things that these Pokemon tend to do. And if we look at Venusaur, poison and other special conditions tend to be quite big. We saw this on both of the Venusaur EXs, and like a million other Venusaur cards. It is a poison type in the game after all. And I could see some kind of ability with moving energy. The old Venusaur EX had Energy Trend, which let you move energy. Let's not forget Venusaur from Shining Legends. Now, admittedly, that didn't move energy, it doubled up energy. But still, it was... it's playing around with energy. So I think it's probably going to have some kind of energy manipulation. That's the kind of stuff that Venusaur tends to do. But certainly, if this doesn't have an attack that poisons, I'm going to want a refund. Because it's definitely going to have an attack that poisons, alright? It's happening. Now, the thing with Celebi is way more interesting. Because Celebi generally mucks around with evolution. So we got Celebi Prism Star that lets you devolve your Pokemon. We got Shining Celebi that lets you use attacks of pre-evolutions. But we even had Celebi EX that let you use attacks and pre-evolutions. The thing is, none of that's relevant here because there is no pre-evolution, which is kind of interesting. But then again, Celebi's also had some interesting abilities over the years. There's Celebi Prime that lets you attach an extra energy, and let's not forget the Celebi with Leap Through Time, which if it would be knocked out, you could flip a coin to essentially save it. Celebi's a weird one. I don't know what Celebi's going to do, but I think, and we've not had one yet, I think this could be the first Tag Team GX with an ability. And I think there's going to be some kind of poison. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is coming. I have shown my working, and I've given you some predictions as to what it's likely to do. Now I want to hear from you guys. Do you think this is happening? Do you think it's real? And if so, what do you think it's going to do? Go nuts in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. But please do remember the rule. Be nice. Then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that malarkey, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk Transformers and we're starting to dig into Keyforge, and it's a lot of fun. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.